What if the fear that everyone secretly hates you isn't just anxiety, but a misunderstood survival strategy? What if your brain is trying to protect you in the worst way possible by convincing you you're not safe in the minds of others? This fear doesn't usually shout. It whispers. A vague sense after a conversation that you said something wrong, the urge to reread every message, hunting for imagined offenses, the silence after a joke that suddenly feels like social rejection. This isn't social paranoia. It's a distorted form of emotional self-defense. We're living in an era of hyper-awareness. Social media taught us to constantly monitor how we're perceived. Likes, reactions, silence. In this space, our self-worth becomes algorithmic. And the fear, it's not irrational, it's just outdated. It's your nervous system, designed for tribes and tight-knit groups, trying to keep you from being cast out. Because once upon a time, exile meant death. But today, the exile is internal. We exile parts of ourselves before anyone else gets the chance. We shrink, we filter, we over-explain. That joke you deleted, that message you rewrote 3 times, that moment you apologized for simply existing. That's not you being weak. That's your nervous system trying to ensure survival in a world that no longer works the way it used to. Chapter 1. The echo chamber in your mind. Ever left a conversation and replayed it on loop? That's not overthinking. That's an internal audit. Your brain is scanning for social missteps, imaginary crimes with real emotional consequences. That awkward pause you remember. Others likely forgot it instantly, but your brain holds it as evidence. Why? Because shame burns, and memory is shaped by intensity, not accuracy. These mental reruns aren't about the past. They're attempts to prevent future pain. But the strategy backfires, because instead of clarity, you get erosion. Each loop chips away at your confidence until silence feels safer than risk. Chapter 2. The Curse of High Empathy. Ironically, the people who fear being hated the most are often those who care the deepest. Their radar for social cues is extra sensitive, not for manipulation, but for protection. You notice the shift in tone, the delayed response, the changed expression. But your interpretations tend to tilt negative. Why? Because when you're used to questioning your worth, neutral feels hostile. This is the empathy trap. You feel everything, but not always accurately. You assume responsibility for everyone's mood and shame when you can't fix it. You start editing yourself down, hoping to become more likable. But eventually, you lose sight of who you really are. Chapter 3. The Invisible Armor. To protect yourself, you put on masks. The agreeable one, the funny one, the quiet one. Each version crafted to be more acceptable, less rejectable. But masks get heavy, and they crack under pressure. Eventually, you start to ask, if everyone likes the mask, does anyone actually like me? And here's the quiet truth. Fear of being hated is often fear of being seen, because what if they see you and decide they don't want you? Chapter 4. Rewriting the Inner Script. What if you believe that disapproval doesn't equal danger? That disagreement doesn't mean dislike? That not being someone's favorite doesn't mean being their enemy? Here's the thing. You will be misunderstood. You will not be everyone's cup of tea. Some people will dislike you, and you'll survive. Not everyone will love you, but the people who matter, they won't need you to shapeshift to earn their affection. Chapter 5. The Science of Perception Gaps. Cognitive research shows that we drastically overestimate how harshly others judge us. It's called the spotlight effect. We think we're being scrutinized more than we actually are. Meanwhile, others are mostly thinking about themselves, their own awkwardness, their own doubts, your worst moment, a background blur in someone else's mental photo. This doesn't mean your feelings are invalid. It means your perception isn't always accurate, and that's okay. Chapter 6. Practicing Rejection Tolerance. Rejection isn't a death sentence. It's an information signal. Not everyone's opinion is a verdict on your worth. Sometimes it's about their preferences, their stories, their biases. And the more you tolerate being disliked, the more freedom you unlock. You start to speak a little more freely, set boundaries without guilt, show up without performance. You stop chasing approval and start building connection. Chapter Chi. Radical Self-Acceptance. What if you believed you were already enough, without editing, without overthinking, without apology? That your worth isn't something earned through perfection, but lived through presence. Here's a practice. Every time the thought surfaces, "They probably hate me," respond with, "Maybe, but I still get to take up space. Maybe, and I'm still worthy of kindness, including my own." Because the real tragedy isn't that some people might dislike you, it's spending your life trying to prevent it instead of learning to live fully in spite of it. And hey, if this resonated, let me know in the comments. I read them, and sometimes I even believe them. But more importantly, I made this for the part of you that's tired of pretending, the part that's ready to be free.